right, Irish Nation, you're back under the Golden Dome with your host, Michael Stonebreaker, Wes Pritchett, Frank Stams, the three amigos from the '88 National Championship team. Welcome. Reviewing Georgia Tech. Notre Dame stands 6-1. All right, seems to be gaining a lot of momentum. And the midshipmen of Navy at 6-0 are up next and playing the game in the Meadowlands. All right, thoughts on the game. Mike, we'll go to you first. What were your thoughts on Georgia Tech?
Georgia Tech was a good game. Notre Dame came out. They gave up 7 points. Started slow for the defense. They kind of got it together. Put up 21 points. It was a lot closer game than what the score. Like in the third quarter, it seemed like Georgia Tech had a chance to get back in it. But Notre Dame's defense played well. They held Georgia Tech, who was averaging 204 yards a game. They held them to, I believe it was 64 yards. 68
Yeah, way to throw those numbers out. Yeah.
There you go.
That guy.
So the defense shut down the run like we wanted them to, and they played well against the pass. My only concern about the game, defense had a couple scores. The special teams had 2 fake punts, a fake field goal, end around. They did they ran another play. I don't know. The special teams were doing their thing on fourth down.
So to that point, let me build on that, and I want to stay with you, Mike. Is the question was asked to Marcus Freeman? Were you dressing up the score for the playoff committee or the people deciding on who's going to get in? You know what I'm saying? On who's going to get in on the playoffs? Were you making it look good with those? Because they were in control of the game, and all of a sudden these things popped up. What do you think?
Well, I think it was a closer game than what the score showed. And as I believe we might have addressed last week, is their kicker. I know they hadn't had a lot of confidence in their kicker. I think they're running with a second-team field goal kicker. And so I think last week, they would be going for it more on fourth downs than kicking the field goals. Now, they didn't do it traditionally. They did it through the kicking special teams, but that's what you have to do, man. You're playing to win the game. You're not worried about last week, and you're not worried about next week. You're playing to win the game. Now, I would say that, halfway through the third quarter, going into the fourth quarter, the offense didn't really do too much. They didn't end the game very well. Defense was able to get a score in to put another 6 points on the board, but the offense didn't shut the game out from the third quarter on. So that was a little worrisome, but other than that, it was a good win.
Awesome. Wes, you were at the game. What was it like tailgating beforehand, and what was it like the atmosphere inside the game?
It was a really good environment. I mean, Tech's natural stadium or their campus is not very far from the Dome.
Where is it? Is it downtown? Is it downtown Atlanta?
Yeah, it's pretty much downtown, and the Dome's probably 2 miles from Georgia Tech or something like that, Mercedes-Benz. But it was a good crowd. I mean, I would say the stadium was probably 80-85% full. Tailgating was it was an absolutely gorgeous day, beautiful. The whole Home Depot area, which is where their main tailgating area, was packed. It was a really good environment. I mean, the stadium was loud. The Tech fans were fired up. Notre Dame had, at least 50-60% of the stadium with their fans, traveled well. It was a big day for the Pritchett family. My son, who's a freshman, got to play in his first college football game against my alma mater. So that was
awesome.
He actually got in the game.
Awesome.
So that was pretty special. And
congratulations, that's wonderful.
Thank you, sir. Yeah, it was kind of a surreal moment. And I had realized when I was talking.
Did you cry? Did you cry?
I did not cry, but I was very proud. Very proud.
I was looking hard. I saw number 30 on the field. Running down on the kickoff. He did good.
No, he was he's fast. I mean,
Way,
he's got,
way
you know,
faster than his dad, I'll tell you that.
not even. Hey, coach, like 4 steps. Um, no, he's got some motor. You know what? Here's the thing. He was good. They told him he was going to get redshirted. He was on the scout team. He's practicing hard all week, or for the last 6 weeks. I told him, I said, just grind it out. You know, do your best. You will get noticed if you're out there grinding it in practice. You remember Zorich when he was on the scout team, and you know, I would like to think that the same thing happened to me. Anyway, long story short, they did notice him, and he got promoted, and he got an opportunity to play. So
Awesome.
hats off to him. He worked hard. He deserves it, and it was definitely a special moment for me. As far as the game, you know, I think Stoney did a good job of summarizing it. Tech came out and looked really good on the first drive, and went down.
They held the ball. You talk
Yeah,
about
they look. I mean, they were running the
7
ball. They
minutes.
were throwing the ball, and I think over time, Notre Dame just got better players. We didn't make a lot of mistakes. I think Riley Leonard continues to get better. I don't think he is a great thrower of the ball, and I don't think he's gonna be. But he runs the ball very well, and I think he's a good sort of manager of the game. You know what I'm saying? Like he doesn't put us, when you got a really good defense and you don't turn the ball over on offense, you got a chance. I mean, it's kind of old school football, and that's kind of what we're doing. So it's
Yeah.
you know, it's not like
it's kind of vanilla.
it's not the pretty game that everybody wants football to be now. So
Right. Yeah. No, yeah, it's and I listening to Marcus Freeman, I hear his comments about he plays with great confidence. He plays with great confidence. He plays with great confidence. So after a while, I'm thinking to myself, thou protest too much, Falstaff, I think. Just to quote a little Shakespeare, and I know I butchered the shit out of that. But I mean, when you start trying to say he has all this confidence, I think the guy might have a confidence problem, and he's making sure that Riley Leonard hears this in the press conference, and that that gets instilled in him, you know, through that medium. Because he's a great. I see his running ability. I think it's exceptional for a quarterback. God, he's making plays. He's making guys miss. You know, he's got a great instinct when it comes to that. But you know, throwing the ball, I think he does lack a little confidence in that. You know, as a result, you know, and I think he wanted to emphasize that even more because he did throw the one interception. I think it was what was it, the first series?
First series.
Yeah, the first series, and you know, that'll shake your confidence a little bit. So, you know, yeah, you're right. You know, you don't want a quarterback, costing you the football game, and fortunately he didn't. But yeah, I saw it the same way. Notre Dame just wore him down. They wore him down in the second half. Defense made some plays in the second half, took over. I think they caught a break with Zach Pyron, I believe his name.
Yeah.
They caught a break there with the quarterback, but you know what? Hey, that's football, and Notre Dame did what they were supposed to do. I was happy. You know, they covered the 14 points. So
yeah, I think Tech's a totally different team with their starting quarterback, but like you said, football. You know, it's football, and he was out, so next man up mentality. But I thought Notre Dame came out. They weren't flat. I thought they played hard. I thought their linebackers played really, really good in that game. They were flying around. They were making plays. They tackled well.
They tackled well, and what did we say? You know, what have we always been saying? They knocked people backwarurs.
They did.
You know, they
looked really good. I'm serious. I mean, I noticed it. You know what I mean?
Yep. They were short. You know, third down, they didn't give up that extra 2 yards and, you know, make it 4th and a half or let them get the first down on third down. You know, they were knocking people backwards, and that was good to see.
Yeah. No, I thought they got a group of their linebackers. I don't think they're very old. I mean, I don't know how they play a lot of kids. I can tell you that.
I know they have 3 freshmen out there that are linebackers.
But I'm telling you right now, man, they had guys coming in. It was crazy seeing it, being at the game, how many guys we're actually playing, which means we're deep. You know, they keep saying that we have this is one of the most talented teams we've had And and Marcus is a great recruiter. There's no doubt about that. So, and he's letting he's giving young kids a chance. So, there's a lot of stuff I think to be positive about with Notre Dame right now.
So do you think
Just got to
that?
keep it going.
Yeah, I'm going to have to put my Clouseau hat on and investigate why there's so much substitution going on because I'm a believer in the more you're out there, the more you play, the better you get. And I think that's the way I played. That's the way. I don't know. Mike? How did you feel about that? Did you like
I
being?
don't. No, did I like being sub? No, I didn't like being substituted, Frank.
Yeah. No.
Why did I know
But,
the answer to that?
but as far as Notre Dame this year goes, I think they have a lot of injuries on that D line, so they're trying to use these linebackers as rush ends or what they're doing on defense, trying to keep them fresh and keep them on the field.
Well, Wes, what did you felt like you got better as the game went on, didn't you?
Yeah. I mean, you would have had to. I was not coming out of the game. No, listen. I worked too hard to get out there, and I had X amount of reps, and I was not coming out.
Well, I think
it's a different world, man. It's a different
I think a
world
small
out there.
part of that is they want to keep them happy, right? Or these kids will go somewhere else.
I think your point you're making is actually a really good one. Yeah, you have to manage. We weren't leaving, right? I mean,
yeah, I didn't have any place to go. Nobody wanted me, so.
So I mean,
My
Tech
parents
all
told me not to
year
come
as an
back.
example. I'll give you an example. The backup quarterback that started against Notre Dame. Every time Tech got inside the 5-yard line, they rotated that guy in at quarterback and let him score a touchdown. He's been doing it all year. And it's only because of exactly what you just said. They're trying to keep these guys happy. I don't know if that's what's going on with Notre Dame. I think we got a lot of young players that are good, and they're trying to get them game time experience too,
Yeah, I think that defensive coordinator is doing a really good job with that defense, and whatever he's doing it right. And I think it does have to do with the injuries on the defensive line, and they're just trying to keep that front seven, rotated through.
You're under the Golden Dome with your hosts Wes Pritchett, Mike Stonebreaker, Frank Stams, 3 All-American linebackers off the 1988 National Championship team, breaking down Fighting Irish football to this point in the season and talking, sharing some stories and then talking about the lessons that we learned from the past in hopes to add the 2024 team to the National Championship ranks. And as you can see, Mike is sporting the championship apparel. You are sporting the championship apparel.
I
Thank
am.
you.
Irish 88.
Yeah.
Irish 88, N88D.com. A portion of all sales go to the Holtz Heroes Foundation, and we are donating to the Notre Dame's NIL funds. So go out and support a great cause. Irish 88, N88D.com.
Nice. So, Mike, and I liked what you said because I heard it in some of the post-game press conference about even the reporters were recognizing the toughness at which Notre Dame played and the speed. I'm talking about the defense and the speed at which the defense played. 2, 3, 4 guys around the ball. They out-hit Georgia Tech. And like Wes, you said, that takes its toll eventually. The other team either quits or just they can't maintain the line of scrimmage anymore, and teams can finish. But having said that, Notre Dame's offense, I don't know how well they finished in that game Saturday against Georgia Tech.
Yeah, they didn't finish. They didn't score. With the third quarter, I don't know how many drives it was, but they had 3 or 4 drives in a row that they couldn't continue the drive, and the defense came in and got a pick 6 to help really put the game away for them. So
yeah, Georgia Tech. You're right, Mike. Georgia Tech had opportunities. They got inside the red zone twice in the first half, and they had a blocked field goal and a muff field goal. I don't know if this actually the second one may have been in the second half, but if Tech could have, but then again, like you said, the offense couldn't finish, but the defense could finish. So the defense shut Tech down in the second half. They had opportunities, and Notre Dame wasn't necessarily pulling away, and then the defense kind of slammed the door. So that team win, and special teams were great. Like you said, I think we had a fake field goal with Tyler Buckner that they converted, and then they had two sort of like trick plays on two. They had 3 fourth-down situations that they converted, 2 sort of fake punts and a fake field goal. So I mean, I love it. I love the fact that we're playing to win instead of playing not to lose.
So Wes, you're at the game. You're in the stadium, and are you rooting for Georgia Tech, or are you pulling for your alma mater?
I was pulling for Georgia Tech, Stoney. My son is on Georgia Tech, so I was pulling for Georgia Tech.
Awesome.
Well, but at the same time, it doesn't hurt my feelings that Notre Dame won the game.
It's a
and my son got to play. So it's sort of really a best case scenario, if you will.
Yes.
I still have allegiance to Notre Dame, but when your son's playing for the other team, you got to pull for your blood. Right?
Yeah, blood's thicker than water all day.
100%.
Good answer. Good answer. Yeah. That's the answer I was looking for.
Well, but you're in a win-win situation, bro. You can't lose. So
can't lose. No, yeah, exactly right.
All right. Notre Dame. Yeah, big concern to me too. I saw the defense. About finishing the game and not being able to, making some mistakes, some penalties, not scoring, help getting the defense to help you. So that offense definitely has some room to grow. And Marcus Freeman recognizes that because he continues to say, you're not great until you fulfill your potential. And that offense is not fulfilling its potential. All right, so but it's a win. A win is a win. Oh, I wanted
solid
to ask
win. That's a solid win against a dangerous team. At basically an away game. So
I wanted to ask you a question. If I couldn't come down, I wanted to come down to the game, but I had to go to a wedding. If I would have come down to the team, could I have gotten a couple of tickets in the parking lot and got in the game? Were they selling them?
I had extra tickets.
Oh, you did.
Okay. You were invited, Frank.
I know. I just couldn't.
We actually had. It was funny. All the Georgia Tech guys were inviting me to. I had a bunch of different suite tickets that we sort of used and aggregated and watched it from the suite level.
Yeah. I'll
tell you one thing about Mercedes-Benz though. They have like 4 levels of. They have a lot of suites. It is you can tell that stadium was funded by the sale of suites because it's I've never seen that many suites in a stadium.
Sweet. The stadium sounds like it's sweet. So that the Shakespeare quote is bothering me. The lady doth protest too much, methinks, is the correct. Is the correct. And so, anyways, I really believe that. I really believe that he's trying to build his confidence up by telling him you have confidence. And
Frank, now that you've brought up Shakespeare, I would like to say that he was indeed the glass wherein the noble used to dress themselves. He had no legs that practiced not to skate. And speaking thick, which nature made his blemish, became the accents of the valiant. For those who would speak low and tartly of him, return their own perfections to abuse to seem like him. So to speech and gait, military delight, he was the mark and glass copy of the book that fashioned others. And him, O wondrous him did you leave, second to none, unseconded by you, to look upon the hideous god of war, a disadvantage to invite a field where nothing but the sound of Hotspur's name did seem defensible. Let them alone.
Awesome.
Encore.
Awesome.
Encore.
I remember didn't you do that at the banquet? Did you do that at the banquet? Holtz had
did it somewhere. Lou got excited that he heard that I could do that, so I did. I can't remember where I did it, but
he broke you out.
I can't believe I remember it.
He broke you out wherever he could. He put you up on stage.
Yeah, listen, exactly. I didn't do it very often.
Yeah, I remember.
Wesley, give him some of that Shakespeare.
I remember that. I'm so impressed by that because I can't even read Shakespeare, let alone recite it.
Bro, I memorized that in 8th grade.
Wow. Yeah, that was
That's
before.
weird, isn't it?
That was before all the.
I can't tell you what I had for
brain
breakfast, but I can remember that.
All right. Moving on. 6-1. I think
Go Irish.
we're over the halfway hump, and we've got go to Navy in the Meadowlands. You talk about historic. You talk about I'm going to say rivalry, but in the sense that they've just like played forever. And at one time, Navy, I think in the 40s, Notre Dame was struggling, and Navy was the one that carried Notre Dame through the hard times. And Notre Dame, in my opinion, done the right thing and continued to play them. And I think that's a wonderful frickin' a rivalry or matchup. And the reason I say that is for a lot of reasons. The first college game I ever went to was in Cleveland Stadium, and my dad took me to see Notre Dame play Navy. They call it the Shamrock Series now, but they were doing it 50 years ago. And I'll never forget, man, the jets flying overhead and the midshipmen marching in the stadium beforehand. You talk about an impression on a young man. I mean, it really, really was something. And to me, Navy and the academies in Southern Cal, those are the rivalries, and that's why I went to Notre Dame. I've got a couple. I got one story about us playing Navy in the Meadowlands under Jerry Faust my freshman year. But I want to hear your thoughts, Wes. What are your thoughts about Notre Dame playing Navy this week?
You guys know anytime you play one of the academies, you better buckle up and be prepared to play 60 minutes. Our in 1988 we went 12-0. I mean, we struggled with Navy that year, so Navy's going to show up and play. This is arguably one of their best seasons they've had in a long, long time. We were looking at their schedule. They haven't really played anybody, but they're still undefeated.
Yeah. You did look at their schedule. Yeah. Who did they play? Bucknell.
Here, let me pull it up again because it was kind of shocking. Honestly,
I don't mean to mock the Naval.
No, listen. I have Notre Dame. We all have. I have respect for all the academies.
What the F?
But their football schedule year to date has been a little suspect.
I know they still run that what they call it, the midline.
Well, here's the thing about Army and Navy are both undefeated. What's really cool is 23, 24, 25 in the AP rankings this week are Army, Navy, Vanderbilt. How about that? When's the last time those three teams were in the top 25? So that was pretty neat. All right, this is who Navy's played so far. They have played Bucknell, Temple, Memphis, UAB, Air Force, and Charlotte.
Nice.
Okay, I mean
6-0. 6-0.
Yeah.
You could
6-0.
win the ones you're supposed to win, right?
Memphis is pretty good.
Yeah, Memphis. There's a couple in there that I don't know.
I'm telling you right now,
I don't know
they're
about
dangerous.
Charlotte and Bucknell, but oh well.
They're dangerous. They're going to play hard, and they throw the ball. I don't know. I haven't really watched a ton of them, but I know that Navy and Army are throwing the ball. So,
well, and that's
how it is to defend. When you're defending the option, you have to commit so many guys to the line of scrimmage that if they can actually throw the ball, they're going to be dangerous.
Mike, what are your thoughts?
My thoughts are I always enjoyed playing the service academies. They were always tough games because we felt like we were supposed to win those games. So you had to get there, get on them, and shut them down early. And running that wishbone triple option, it's dive, quarterback, pitch. Dive, quarterback, pitch. You have to smash the dive, bounce for the quarterback, and sprint to the corner and hit the pitch man. And you have to make those reads, man. You have to stay. The ones that have to stay behind, and you have to make those reads 48 times a game. And be consistent with it and make the right read. So I love playing that triple option, man, because that's what my high school ran ran the option, and I love dive quarterback pitch, man. That's how I learned how to play football. So
Getting to know you a little bit at Notre Dame, I'm surprised. You would have struck me as an academy guy. It was like Navy and Army and Air Force. Was that high on
Mike,
your list?
was it Notre Dame or Navy?
well, the Air Force it was going to be, but you see, I'm wearing glasses, so my sight kept me out of
Right.
out of that. So
Right.
I
Maybe
defaulted to Notre Dame.
it was your sight, and I think those 4 a.m. wake up calls that they would get.
Right.
I remember you guys remember Lance, Rick Lance, wasn't his name Rick Lance?
Yeah, he recruited me at Georgia Tech before he went to Notre Dame.
Okay, so he might have been there before you, Mike. He came. I think Jerry Faust hired him, and
He was there me and you's first 2 years. I don't think he was there with Stoney.
It wasn't there, man.
So, so Jerry had Rick Lance talk to the team because he'd coached at Navy before coming over to Notre Dame, and I'll never forget. And this just kind of resonated with me, and to this day, I've never forgotten it. Thinking, God damn, He said, he goes, let me tell you something. The academy, the servicemen, the midshipmen, they come here. He goes, it's a break. It's a break for them. They get to sleep in. The away games, they get to sleep in till 7:30, 8 o'clock. And I'm thinking, oh my God, how miserable must it be?
Don't you remember? Was it Lou that put their who was it that put their schedule on the board? Do you remember that?
I don't know that. I didn't remember.
I think it had to be Holtz. He was talking about when we were playing them, and somehow he had a list. He had put their schedule on like what they do in a day. It was insane. I mean, wake up at 5 a.m. and basically sprint full speed until you went to bed at 10 o'clock.
Yeah.
Well, they used to do that in down here in high school, South Lafourche, the team that down on the bayou. They're like these guys are shrimpers. They have full beards. They've been working their whole lives. They chew tobacco. You better get down there and play well. I'm like, all right.
Did you guys beat them?
Yeah, we always beat them.
Beat them. Yeah.
Curtis is good. They're very well coached. Unreal. That's it. Stoney, how many state championships has your high school won?
I don't know the number of state champions,
Wow.
but
I heard 22 was the number I heard.
All right, 22. And I don't know what is it 348 or is it
Yeah, they said what it was.
638 wins, like 128 losses and 18 ties.
What is your coach's name?
JT Curtis. He's the all-time winningest high school football coach in the country.
By the way, what an amazing, how cool is it? I can't even believe that my kids' team got to go down there and play you guys. That was special. And then it ended up being in the Silverdome.
Superdome.
Superdome. I always say Silverdome. That's Detroit, isn't it?
That is.
Was.
That is exactamundo. Was is right. Yeah, it was. So, yeah, no, I always thought, God damn, man, those guys, they come and they get a day. He goes, so they get this is fun for them. This is a day off coming to play because they get to sleep in. And I'm thinking, oh, shit. But, Navy I was listening to Marcus's press conference on Navy. He said they're running out of shotgun, or their formation.
Navy?
Yeah, they're out of gun a lot more than they were in the past. And like you said, Wes, they're throwing the ball a little bit more, and that makes them a little bit more dangerous. And as he mentioned, as you guys know and mentioned, is that option. I mean, the option football has more options than what the defense can, I think, adjust to.
Well, with the quarterback running the ball, they have a one-man advantage, right? Typically.
Yeah. Well, I mean, unless you commit the safety, then you don't. I mean, if you play, with a free safety, it engages that safety in the game.
Typically, though, they run it to the side. They know they have a one-man advantage.
Yeah.
But your defense if your defense knows that Stonebreaker is going to tackle the dive, tackle the quarterback, and then tackle the pitch, then it makes it a lot easier on everybody else.
Yeah, you,
Wait.
right.
We
We got one guy
right.
equal to 4 of your guys, so we actually have the advantage.
So one of us, we take down 3 of you. I love that.
Right.
So then that was the thing, from my defensive end position. When we played, I thought
Now, Frank, were you on the '88 team?
a little bit, yeah. No, I got in a little bit. We Air Force, I always thought was the toughest one that ran the option. And I remember the last year we played them at home. And really, they lined me up, they put my hand in the dirt and lined me up inside the tight end. Or if I didn't have
against Navy.
no, Air Force. Yeah. I'm talking about versus the option, the assignment, or I was listening to the presser, and he was talking about it. Eye discipline, and I've heard this more than once. Eye discipline. It's funny to me how these coaches today in this world, they come up with this. It's the same shit. They just call it different stuff.
Different terms, yeah.
Yeah. Eye discipline, assignment football.
Read the
Well,
ball.
here's what I don't understand. And you guys tell me, watching just football in general. Lou beat it into our heads so much you could never get hooked. Like, we never let guys outside. It's just unbelievable to me how they get the edge in football. It doesn't matter. High school, college, pro. Like, all we learned was we turned everything in, right? Which was great for us linebackers. But I don't get on the Stoney. I found this Curtis thing. We were off. You're not even good. Listen to these numbers. This was October of last year. JT Curtis is 621 wins, 78 losses, and 6 ties. Dude, that's insane.
78 losses.
He's 621 and 78. That's pretty damn good.
That's pretty
Wow.
fundamentally
Crazy.
sound.
Since 1962. Man, that's insane.
And they ran the gambit from the AA, AAA, quad 4A is the biggest in Louisiana, and so they've been playing the top level teams throughout time.
And doesn't the guy have like his whole family there too? I mean, it's like his brother, his cousins. Like it's a complete family affair.
They're Baptist folks. JT Curtis, John Curtis Sr., his wife Merle, JT Leon was the defensive coordinator. He taught me how to play. All the sisters, everybody, all the kids, they all run the school.
That's crazy. Well, that's cool.
The Irish come in
to play in Navy. I saw that they were 12.5-point favorites.
Navy is not a favorite. Notre Dame is.
No. The Irish are coming in to play.
Yeah, that's not kind of wow. That's kind of low. So, going back to playing that, I'll have to process that 12.5 points. You still there, Wes? Anyways, so Holtz would always, what I gathered from his defense, and he knew because we ran the option. And he knew how to defend he thought he knew best on how to defend the option. Because, it's hard for a team that, say, is a pro formation or, 5 wides, and all of a sudden, to go against the option football, and now all of a sudden you're trying to get the look team or the scout team to run it for you, and it's just hard. But when you have an offense that runs that, bam. That's what we saw in the spring, and, so we were used to it. And I'll never forget his philosophy in defending that, and was to make them execute the offense or their option football to the fullest. So, like you said, stop the dive, stop the quarterback, make them pitch the ball. And that's hard to do. That's a lot of moving parts with that option football, and to execute it to its fullest, not only is hard, but it also takes time, and that takes time for the defense to recover, and plus you're pushing it to the sidelines where you have the 12th man. So I always thought that was, the best way to defend that.
I had 22 tackles one game against Army or Navy, whoever it was running that wishbone.
Nice. Well, yeah, man, they're coming, they're attacking you. I mean, to you, I mean, is it that when that to me, I always thought that mesh was the hardest. I didn't see it like you saw it from your position, but that mesh with the fullback or the running back and the quarterback, whether he pulled it or not, I always thought that was a bitch.
I always smashed them at the line of scrimmage. Don't make him pull it, and then bounce out to you. You're going on the tight end. I mean, on the quarterback. I'm coming up from inside out on you. I remember a couple times I was putting my hands on your back and trying to get around you, heading out for the pitch because I knew you had the quarterback, and you're like, man, you can't put your hands on me, man. You can't put your hands on my back, man. What are you talking about? I'm going for the pitch, Frank. All right. And so, dive quarterback pitch, man. You have to read fast. It's called a fast read. When I was playing in the Louisiana All-Star game, it's an All-Star game, so there's no blitzing and for the defense because it's an All-Star game. And my coach was telling me that in the other team was like complaining that he's blitzing. And my coach was like, he's not blitzing, he's fast reading, because that's what they taught us, how to fast read. And that was dive quarterback pitch, man. Bam, 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 And so it's just what you have to do.
Yeah, no, that's interesting. That's a good story. My thing was for them, most of the time I was crashing and taking out the quarterback and making him pitch it. Regardless of whether he handed the ball off to the fullback or if he kept it, great. I was in great shape, but I was to take him out and make him pitch it right away. Look, here we go, Wes. So you jumped off us real fast, Wes.
Yeah, unfortunately, I think my phone died.
You've got an orientation issue on my end.
Yeah, I see that.
It's like the old Batman series. That always show the Riddler upside down.
Problem. Here we go. Let's just do it this way. Here we go.
It's all good. You got a favorite story playing the academies, or you've got a favorite story playing Navy? I mean, we never played at Navy. I know last year we played them in Baltimore, and the other years, we were either at home or in the Meadowlands. I thought
I do have one because I was telling my son this story. I was redshirted my freshman year, and I was one of the only guys. I may have been the only guy that didn't travel. And I remember I made Scout Team Player of the Week, and so I got to travel. And I got to go to the Navy game our freshman year that we played in the Meadowlands, and I had never been to New York. So not only did I get to travel, we went to New York. We hung out in the city. It was a really cool experience.
They took us to lunch at the downtown athletic.
No, we went to the United Nations.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Right. We're walking around.
That was a really cool trip. So I just remember that was my first time in New York. I'm an 18-year-old kid. I mean, it was a really cool experience.
That was a very cool experience. I remember walking around, and it was typical tourist. And when we're waiting for the light, and when the light changed, and like a sea of humanity came at us, and we're walking against it. And at the same time, I'm looking up all these skyscrapers.
Yeah, the first time. Had you ever been to New York? You had never been either, right?
Maybe when I was a kid. My dad took us when we were a kid, but nothing like that. But that game, I'll never forget that game. Going into that game, Jerry's our coach. I'm a freshman, and I'm running down on the kickoffs and special teams. And going into that game, Notre Dame had not lost to Navy in an ungodly amount of years. It was like 41, 42, 43 years. And, Jerry, the heat was starting to mount on Jerry as far as, his tenure there at Notre Dame. And weren't having a great season. and you certainly didn't want to lose to a team that your predecessors had beaten every time. And so we go and play the game, and sure enough, it's close. They're winning the game with about 3 or 4 minutes to go, and we drive down and we get close enough for a field goal. And they're winning the game by, I think, 1 or 2 points, and we kick the field goal to go ahead with about I'd say about maybe a minute 30 left on the clock. And of course the kickoff team goes out, and we kick the ball off. And as you were alluding to earlier, Wes and Mike, you know this, they play to the echo. The midshipmen, they play to the echo of the whistle. I mean, you talk about effort. There is no quit in any of the academies. And so I'm running down there, and the play was away. The guy caught it. The play was away, and this guy just kept blocking me and kept blocking me and kept blocking me. It was like a freaking gnat, And then all of a sudden, I got pissed because I saw the ball going down, and the play was ending, and I'm pissing, and he's still blocking me. So I turn around and I give him a forearm upside the head. All right. Well, as I'm in this motion, the whistle blows, and as I finish, the flag hits me in the back of the head.
No.
And
God.
yeah, so they get the ball. So they returned it out to maybe the 25-30, had another 15. Now they're out close to the 15 midfield. All right, and we're only up by 1 or 2. And I'll never forget Jerry's going nuts on the sidelines, saying, "Who did it? Who did it?" He's going up and down the sidelines. Who did it? Who did it? Who did it? And I'm down around about the 15-yard line or the 12-yard line, and I'm coming off the field down there, way far away from the bench, because I don't want to go anywhere near the bench. And I think I could hide. I'm going to get away with this. And Carl Selmer, the offensive line coach, sells me out. He starts pointing at me. He saw it. He saw what I did, and he starts pointing at me. And Jerry sees him pointing at me, and Jerry comes running down the sidelines, and he just gets in front of me, and he doesn't know what to say. He's completely at a loss for words, and he just freaking lets go, and he freaking gives me a sucker punch in the gut. And
He doesn't.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
You
No,
deserved it.
It was exactly. Now, it wasn't something that it wasn't a Mike Tyson blow, or it wasn't really something that he really was. It was like hurtful or anything like that. He was just so frustrated, and it just kind of hit me. But it just shocked the shit out of me.
But we won that game.
And then we went down. Oh, they got the midfield right, and we held them at midfield, and then we win the game. But I'll never forget that playing Navy in the middle.
That's funny.
Irish fans, you're listening to Under the Golden Dome with your hosts, Michael Stonebreaker, Wes Pritchett, Frank Stams, the three amigo linebackers from the 1988 National Championship team, talking Irish football, present, current day, breaking down the games, broke down the Georgia Tech game, previewing the Navy game, and then trying to apply some of the lessons that we learned winning that national championship almost 40 years ago today. So, to me, Notre Dame has just got – the only reason Notre Dame would lose this game is coaching. I mean, the athletes, they've got far, far better athletes.
Yeah, I agree with you. Just effort and coaching. I think – I don't know. At the Georgia Tech game, I thought that was a game they could potentially be flat, and I did not. To me, it did not look like the Irish were flat. So hopefully they turned the corner on the motivational side. I think you're right. We got guys. We really are. We're talented everywhere. So we're young, but we're talented. So. I think are we making predictions on the game?
No. I noticed, Michael, not yet. We got some time left in the podcast. We've got about 15 minutes. I noticed that drew a little chuckle from you. So, Michael, I'll take it back. You know what? There are rare occasions. That the players lose the games. When they turn the ball over, they drop passes, they miss tackles. So I get that, but I see the difference in athlete that goes to Notre Dame versus the academies, and this is not to belittle the academies because I've got all the greatest respect in the world for those guys. They do shit that I can't do, and
100%.
I'm tremendously grateful, not only for their service, but for what they do and how they do it. But I just don't think. I mean, yeah, offensively they may score some points. They could score 30 points against the Irish, but if that's the case, the Irish should score 40.
Yeah, I just don't see how they're going to slow Notre Dame down. I mean, you would think our offensive line, our running backs, our quarterback. I mean, we should be a lot for them on for their defense to stop. So
I mean, Michael said it best. I mean, he had the dive, he had the quarterback, and the pitch were his responsibilities.
right.
This week, these kids who haven't played against that wishbone when they first get out there, you can't do, Navy. Are they playing Navy or Army?
Maybe.
Navy. I get them confused. Navy's, they're a lot quicker than what your scout team's going to be because they're more proficient in it. And so, you might get a couple bombs, a couple big yardage plays, but you would hope, as the game goes on, they get used to the reads and understand how to do it properly and shut them down. The coaches can call whatever they want to call. The talent of Notre Dame should be able to eventually shut this team down. And just like they did with Georgia Tech, who was running for 204 yards a game and they only got 64, so they should be able to shut down Navy also. And so
Yeah, no, I'm with you. They should be just, and like you said, and they talked about again. I love listening to these press conferences, but yeah, you can't, and we knew this. You can't simulate in practice how Navy executes the wishbone. So what were doing is they had some of I think the second and third string quarterback running with, or some of the more talented running, could be a receiver. I forget the names that they were talking about, playing quarterback for the scout team. So to try to simulate that speed, because it is going to happen very fast. If you're not used to that, it's those older guys like Jack Kaiser, I think, the backer, he's used to that. But some of the, that young squad, it's going to be a different pace for them. And their margin for error is going to be smaller.
Yeah, and
Well, I mean, you can take one false step and give those guys a little, a little alley,
Right.
and they're up on
And
your
when-
free safety in 1-2 seconds.
when the pitch hits the corner quick, man, there's one guy, your cornerback, getting blocked by the receiver, like you said, and he's gone. So you can get burnt pretty quickly. You just have to have everybody running to the ball on every single play.
Okay, Notre Dame's chances. That's it. What do you guys? You said, Wes. You mentioned the 12.5. I don't know. What do you think? It seems awfully low to me, but I don't know.
I mean, I think Navy's dangerous. I think they're better. I think they're confident. I think they haven't really played anybody. I think Notre Dame's got a lot more talent. All the stuff that we've talked about. I think the Irish cover again. I think we win by 3 touchdowns.
And
I just don't see how they're going to it's kind of like Georgia Tech came out and gave it their all, and it was a close game, and we just we beat them down, and I can't see why we wouldn't do the same thing to Navy.
And I have a question about last week's game. What were our choices last week? I think I said 35-17, Georgia Tech. What was the final of that game?
31. What was it? 31.
14?
31-12. Hold on. 31-13.
All right, so I won that one too. So I've won every week.
Awesome. Good. Who do you like this week? You're only as good as your last game.
All right. And so this week, I feel like Notre Dame's going to roll on this team up in the 40s again, and I think they're going to score 24 points. I think Navy's going to have success, but Notre Dame's offense is going to be better.
I'm going to write these down. What was the final you got? So,
I'm going to say 42-24.
Wes, what do you have?
I'll say I said 21 points, so 42-21.
Uh-huh. All right. Yeah, no, you know what? I like those. Those.
Because I think, I don't, you never know. You have to play the game.
Now,
It's
Navy
hard
is averaging like 44 points a game, by the way.
Right, that's what I'm saying. I think to slow them down to 20 is going to be a good effort.
That would be a good defensive, 100%. They're going to move the ball. There's no way they're not going to move the ball.
I'm gonna high scoring game, 49-31, Notre Dame. All right. So Notre Dame's chances of making the playoff now has increased. Just to talk a little college football, what do you think about Texas losing at home to Georgia?
About them dogs.
Yeah,
I think
that shocked me, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I think. Well, everybody thought Texas was going to win, including me. Do not underestimate. Kirby Smart to me is one of the greatest. I mean, he is very Saban-esque, but even with more emotion. He does not. I think he gets his guys so riled up and ready to play, man.
The last 3 years, he's been
They just
putting it
can't
on
beat
people,
Alabama.
man.
I mean, other than Alabama, he's beat everybody.
Yeah.
So I think the dogs. I mean, you got to think. I think there's a good 6 teams that can win it this year. I think Ohio State's still got a chance. I think Oregon's got a chance. I think Georgia's got a chance.
You think about Texas, who hadn't been there in a while,
right?
And had that all that energy, all that alumni energy behind being number one with those 2 stud quarterbacks, and everything's great, and you get that loss, man. That's painful for those guys,
Well, in that game, Georgia just beat them. Georgia beat them up. Georgia won in every aspect of that game.
Beat them up.
To me, there was no question who was a better team in that game.
Yep.
I don't know. They may play again. It could be a completely different scenario, but they got Penn State. I think is ranked number 3. I don't know. I don't know about that ranking.
They got a pretty good quarterback at Penn State. The kid grew up not too far.
Yeah, we got that dude, the tight end, number 44 for Penn State. If you haven't watched his highlights, do yourself a favor and watch him. He had 17 catches against Southern Cal.
That's the one thing I like about these super conferences now is like you're getting a lot of big on bigs, and I like that.
Yeah, and I keep going back to the second game when Notre Dame lost it. I'm like, no, the season's over. It's over. But now you've got this big, playoff conference. 12 teams, right?
Right.
And
Notre Dame wins out, they're going to be in the playoffs. I don't have any doubt.
Whatever the stats are, they can only be number 5. They're going to be. If they went out, they're going to be in the playoffs.
No doubt.
You're never not going to have Notre Dame if they're close in the playoffs.
Yeah.
And then you just
I think if they went out, they deserve to be in the playoffs. Look, Texas A&M's pretty damn good, by the way. They've played they're 6-1. So.
All right,
good win.
There you have it, straight from the amigos' mouths. Notre Dame football, week 7 of the season. Irish are 6-1, going to the Meadowlands to play Navy. Thank you for joining under the golden. You've been under the Golden Dome with Wes Pritchett, Michael Stonebreaker, and Frank Stams talking Notre Dame football. 3 former All-American linebackers from back in the day, the '88 team, the last national champion. So thank you for joining us. Enjoy this week's game. Go Irish, and we will see you next week.
This is
Alumni Media.